In the shadow of great names like Paul, Peter, and James, there stood others, quiet pillars of strength in the early church. Men whose names were whispered in house churches and remembered in prayers but seldom echoed in the pages of history. One such man was Sosipater. His name appears only once, tucked away in the final greetings of a letter written by the Apostle Paul, a letter that would shape Christian doctrine for centuries, the Epistle to the Romans. But in that simple mention, Sosipater is called something powerful, my kinsman. The word kinsman was not used lightly by Paul. It meant fellow Jew, a brother in heritage and, more importantly, in the faith. Sosipater was part of the Jewish remnant that recognized the Messiah not as a political figure, but as the Son of God, the risen Savior. Many scholars believe Sosipater is the same man as Sosipater of Berea, mentioned in the book of Acts as one of Paul's companions during his travels. If this is true, then his story is much richer than we realize. Imagine him, a native of Berea, a city known for its noble-minded Jews, people who didn't just accept teaching blindly, but searched the scriptures daily to confirm the truth. In such a place, the gospel took root not just in emotions, but in minds. Sosipater, or Sosipater, was one of them. A man of thought. A man of faith. And when the time came, he didn't just believe, he followed. He joined Paul on the road, not as a spectator, but as a missionary. Together they journeyed through dangerous territories, preaching in cities that welcomed them with both open arms and clenched fists. From the bustling streets of Ephesus to the rocky harbors of Macedonia, Sosipater stood side by side with the apostle. He wasn't seeking attention. He didn't write letters or plant churches with his name on them. But he was there in the moments that mattered. He may have been part of the team that carried donations from Gentile churches to the suffering believers in Jerusalem. That journey was more than a mission of mercy, it was a symbol of unity between Jewish and Gentile believers, a bridge Sosipater helped build with his presence. When Paul wrote to the Romans from Corinth, surrounded by his closest allies, Sosipater was among them. His name was included in that final flourish of greetings, a signature of support, a mark of trust. To be mentioned in a letter sent to the church in Rome was no small thing. It meant Paul considered him a brother in battle, a man worthy of recognition in the heart of the empire. Some traditions say Sosipater went on to become a bishop in Iconium or Corfu, preaching and strengthening the faith in distant lands. There are even legends that tie him to Jason, another of Paul's companions, suggesting the two labored side by side for years. One powerful story from Christian tradition speaks of Jason and Sosipater being arrested for preaching the gospel. They were imprisoned by a cruel ruler, and yet their witness inside the prison was so powerful that 7 fellow inmates converted to Christianity and were baptized. The story tells that these new believers were later martyred, burned alive in tar, and Jason and Sosipater, though tortured, survived and continued preaching. Whether all these accounts are literal or embellished through time, one truth remains: Sosipater was faithful. He wasn't a man of headlines. He was a man of legacy. His journey was long, his steps steady, his faith unshakable. He is a reminder that not all heroes stand in spotlights. Some walk beside others, lifting them up, sharing their burdens, and making sure the mission moves forward. In Sosipater, we see the quiet strength of friendship, the depth of loyalty, and the eternal reward of faithfulness. His name is short, his mention brief, but his impact, like so many in the early church, stretches across centuries. A brother. A traveler. A preacher. A man who stood firm for the gospel when the world stood against him. This is the story of Sosipater, the faithful companion, the unshaken believer, the man who walked in the footsteps of the apostles and helped shape the very foundations of the church.